One of the most frustrating things when talking to people my age or even around my age is that they genuinely believe they are too stupid to invest. And to be fair to them, that's what people want us to think. The elites, the rich, want you to think that you can invest because you don't know how. You need a financial advisor. You just need to let your 401k take care of that kind of stuff for you. When it's very, very frustrating because in reality, it's scary how easy it is to invest. So yeah, we're just going to talk about some of this stuff. And I want to show you guys, there's a few things. Why aren't people invested? What are my credentials? What experience do I have? Because I'm just an 18-year-old kid. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm no Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. Fuck me, man. What are the different kinds of investment accounts that you should be looking at? Dividend reinvestments in ETFs, especially for beginners. And then how to pick stocks and how I personally pick stocks outside of that ETF game. And that's really, really good when you are as young as if you're a younger person watching this video. But first things first. I know I'm dark. That'll do for a second. Okay. So what are my credentials? Well, I have... What year is it? It is the big... Damn. It's the big freaking... It's the big 2-6, guys. So I have been investing ever since 2020 is when I bought my first stock. Now I haven't been always investing. I'd say I've been investing really religiously for about a year. Before that, I had a part-time job, which led me to make some investments, but not as consistent as I would like to be. So just to kind of show you guys what who I am in terms of the investing world, this is my personal brokerage account. As you can see, the first investment on this account is when I was a child. It was a youth account. Was made November 14th, 2023. It has been less than 3 years, and I am up nearly 98%, almost 100% in 3 years. And this isn't even when I really started investing. If we take a look at it, we're going to go like this. If we take a look at it, when I really started even doing anything was right about July 11th, 2024. This is right when I got my first actual consistent stable part-time job. And you can even see here, every single one of these things here are all different times that I had reoccurring purchases in the market. And sometimes you see it stagnates because, I'll be honest, your boy had to buy a computer and he was making like $400 a paycheck. So sometimes I didn't invest. But if we look at the last year, right around here, you can see that this is when we start to get really consistent with it. But in terms of actual market experience, I've been following stocks for quite a while now, honestly. And if we look at the last year as a whole, just in the last year, so July 1st to 2026, all the way to July 1st, 2025, I have beaten out the market by more than double. 53%, which I don't mean to toot my own horn. I mean, I know we've been in a really good market. But like that is, I wish I could do that every year of my life. I wish I could just keep printing those kind of returns. But so far so good. And even when we look at year to date, so this is last 6 months performance, because I didn't just get lucky. I'm up 32%. I have more than tripled what the S&P 500 did as an individual investing. There isn't a single, well, maybe some ETF outperforming, but like all the mainline things here we see, I've outperformed major. So those are just kind of what you say, like my credentials. I've been in the market for a very, very long time. I've been investing. Bought my first stock when I was like 12. I was literally 12 in 2020. And my first stock I ever bought was Disney. Wish I would have held on to that because I think Disney's up quite a bit since then. And I bought Netflix too. And Netflix is really up since then. But let's get into the main topics of the video. Why aren't people invested? I got this pad here. Why aren't people invested? I've talked to a lot of my peers, a lot of people my age, and I always hear the same thing. No one's ever taught me how. My parents never taught me how. School never taught me how. And that's not the parents' fault because they weren't taught how as little kids. Like I said earlier, rich people do not want you to be invested. That's the reason number one. Because money is only inherently value if it's scarce. If everybody when they were 65, a common age of retirement, if everybody when they were 65 had millions and millions of dollars, what's going to happen? So that's honestly the biggest reason, right? Rich people don't want you to have money. Somebody has to flip the burgers. Yeah, I mean, it sucks. It is what it is. But why should we invest? Because investing is retaliation. What I mean by that is because they want you to think that you are too stupid to do it. If you can figure it out, it is extremely, extremely valuable. And this is going to sound really, really silly, especially coming from someone like me. At our age, if you're watching this, if you are under 30, even around 30, we got to start getting some reoccurring investments going on. Why? Because money ages. The longer that you have money inside the market, the more valuable it will become. The second best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the first best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. Money ages, and it oftentimes ages with an X factor. What do I mean like that? What do I mean by that? It starts to age faster and faster the longer it's been. Like, money doesn't age like we do. I mean, we age fast, right? But it's like as humans, 75 years, that's usually what we're going to get. And it's going to be a steady incline, right? As we get older and older. Money in the market, that first 10 years, you might not see that much growth. I mean, you probably will. But it's not going to be nearly as much as the latter 10 years of your money being in the market. That's when we start to see exponential growth in the market, and it's low-key, it's honestly crazy. Low-key, I sound like an 18-year-old, guys. Now I'm gonna pull up an investment calculator because this is something useful just to visualize how money compounds over time. Let's say it compounds annually. Let's say we make a annual contribution of $5,600 a year. Now, that doesn't have to be you guys. Let's say we make it at the beginning of the year. Let me make sure this looks right. Yeah, this looks right. Now, this is just an example. I use this in particular because it returns to me. If you do an average of 12% a year, let's say over 35 years. So I'm 18. In 35 years, I'll be 53 years old. I'll still be before the age of retirement. Let's say we, on average, invest $100 a week. That might be harder if you're a college student, but once you have a full-time job, I implore you to try to set aside even $100 a week. And here's why. $100 a week for 35 years is going to be $2.7 million if you can achieve these numbers. 12%, you're going to talk to a lot of analysts, they're going to say that's generous. I've made 33% in under 3 years. I've been pretty, I think 12% with my investment strategies is honestly, and how the market's been moving, is honestly kind of conservative. If we were to do 20%, which is very, very well, fuck. You see, this is what I'm talking about, how money ages. But I really like this bottom part too. You can see in the first 10 years, it's only $113,000. So that's 10 years of investments. You've contributed over $56,000 into the market, and you've only seen a 50% gain. But look at the next 10 years. Your money quadruples. 10 years after that, 30. It triples here, but look at these last 5 years. Look at these last 5 years. You go from $1.7 million to $2.7. This is $200,000 a year when you've only invested less than $200,000 total. I hope I'm breaking this down correctly, because this should show anybody why we should be investing. Because these tools, when used correctly, when not being an idiot, don't get involved in meme coins and penny stocks. These things freaking print for people. And this is how the rich do it, right? This is how the rich stay rich. They have a bunch of other ways and insider trading that I don't really want to get into this video. This is more of an investment one-on-one video. I'm trying to convince people to invest, and I want to show people what their different kind of options are and give them a basic knowledge and understanding. So let's talk about the different accounts that people have available, or the different accounts that I think we should be looking at. There's going to be 3 main accounts. You're going to hear your 401ks. You're going to hear your Roth IRAs. And you're going to see, let's just say, I'm going to call it normal, because that sounds that sounds normal / I don't want to spell, honestly. That's my thing. And I spell bad. Guys, I went to a STEM school, and I'm kind of an idiot. I never claimed to be smart with writing, so you get my sloppy writing and everything like that. So 401ks. Where have we heard 401ks? That's what old people talk about. Your parents have probably talked about 401ks from their job. What is a 401k? It is a benefit of working. So different jobs have different 401k options, and not every job does even offer 401ks, and some of them are better to varying degrees. I'm lucky enough. Okay, so what is a 401k? A 401k is an investment account provided for your job, where they take a percentage of your paycheck, pre-tax dollars, which is nice. That's a benefit. Pre-tax dollars. And what they're going to do is they're going to put it into the market for you. The pre-tax dollars is actually kind of nice, but it's honestly a marginal kind of difference. That's not alone good enough to sign up for a 401k. The number one thing that you should be looking for in a 401k, what is the match? What is the match? What is a match in general? So, as a benefit through your work, different companies provide different benefits for 401ks. For example, my job has something, it has a 5% match, which is actually very, very good. It has a 5% match. So they're going to take 5% of my paycheck, and then they are going to take that 5%, and they're going to raise another 5% provided by them, and they're going to put it into the market for me. So, why it's good if you have match is because every dollar that I put in is now going to be worth $2 because of match. Now, some places offer no match. No match equals bad. If there is no match, I would say do not go into a 401k. Why? They're still giving the pre-tax dollar benefit. Even though they're giving a pre-tax dollar benefit, a lot of the times these 401ks are not self-directed, and it's a bunch of geeks in lab coats, quantitative analysts, deciding where our money should go, which I am not personally a fan of. I would like to decide where my money goes. For example, my job has something called the 2070 fund. Based on my age, I think I'm going to retire in 2070. I'll tell you what, I'm retiring much faster than that. But they put it into things that I cannot change. I cannot view what it's made of. It's just called the 2070 fund. A lot of the times previously, it was a bit more self-directed, and some places still are. But I would not have a 401k if it wasn't for that match. The match is the only reason I keep it, because the 5% that I put in, and they're matching 5%, is good. Now, we're going to talk about the other famous option, which I think is basically it mogs a 401k, and it's a Roth IRA. Roth IRA. Why is it good? Well, first of all, Roth IRAs are not unlimited. You're going to have a $7,500 limit a year. You can only put $7,500 in it a year. That's the max, because these things are low-key too overpowered. Why a Roth IRA mogs is because after 59 and a half, I'll just put 59. After 59, you pay no taxes. Oh, fuck yes! Uncle Sam's not getting this cut. When you take your money out after 59 in a Roth IRA, you will not have to pay taxes. That's an incredible thing that the government set up for people. That is the number one way to hold as much as your money as possible. Because what? You pay taxes on a... You pay tax on a 401k, even after the age of retirement. You do. It's you're going to pay income tax. Now, I'll be honest, and I'm not going to include this because most of you should have a Roth IRA. Me personally, I got a little bit of beef with Roth IRAs. I don't know if I'm going to make it to 59. I'd be extremely lucky. I don't know what the world's going to look like. I like my money a little bit more liquid. And why I call it liquid is if you take your money out of a Roth IRA before you are 59, you're going to have to pay income tax and a Roth IRA penalty, which is typically about 10%, I believe. So you're going to have to pay income tax on it and then a penalty. And a lot of the times about 35% of your returns are probably going to be diminished in taxes. So try not to dip into it too much. Why I say too much. The other massive benefit. You can take You can take out your contributions in 5 years after they're made. What does that mean? And this is honestly the best part of a Roth IRA, and I'm going to tell you guys how I use a Roth IRA. Roth IRAs. If I invest, let's say, $1,000, and I'm just going to start throwing out numbers. If I invest $1,000 today, and over the course of 5 years, it becomes $3,000. Now, I can't take out the $3,000 without paying taxes on it. But what I can do in 5 years is take out my contribution. I can take out the $1,000 I put in and not pay any taxes on it. And still let that other money grow, right? Now, alrighty. What am I here to talk about? I made a mistake. As I do, I'm human. I make mistakes. believe it or not, there is no really restrictions to when you can withdraw your contributions. So you can do that, I don't know, a day, 6 months, whenever after, and you are completely fine. I just wanted to clear that up. There's no 5-year rule. The 5-year rule only applies for earnings. I'm just playing around with some numbers just so you guys get an understanding. If you made that much in 5 years, you're doing something right, and I should be learning from you. But how I use a Roth IRA, because I know that, is I use it as a long-term savings account, pretty much. Because in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I may want to, I don't know, buy a house. What do I need? I need a down payment. If money's a little flexible, I can dip in and grab some of my contributions. I can grab some of my contributions tax-free and use that money as a down payment towards a house. That's how I look at a Roth IRA. I look at it as a long-term savings account, because what you should not do, and the whole point of this video, do not let massive amounts of money stay in savings account. Inflation kills it, man. Put it into a high yield savings account, bare minimum. My bank with Robinhood, they give 3.5%. That's so much better than nothing. The idea that year over year, your money sitting in a bank account is going to be less than what it was. It's going to be less purchasing power. It's just going to be worth less. It's getting mogged by inflation, guys. Put it into at least a high yield savings account. Or better yet, if you're not going to touch that money for a long time, put it into a Roth IRA. Let your money work for you and collect the frickin' contributions whenever in 5 years. But just let your money work for you. Roth IRAs are really cool. Now, I just recommend, if you can, max it out every year. Just try to max it out every year. Or if you're not me, and you don't want to be super, super in-depth to this stuff, put as much money into that Roth IRA as humanly possible. That's what I would do. Now, let's talk about the last of the options, a normal/individual brokerage account. Now, what I like about these is these are the most liquid, right? Like, maybe that's not a good term. These are what people usually hold. These are like what traders are going to use. These are what people who, I don't know, made $1 million. Let's say they make $1 million a year. These are probably what they're going to be using. I mean, they're going to definitely max out the Roth IRA, but you have the $7,500 limit. They have really good lawyers. They can figure a way around their taxes, write-offs, and such. But normal/individual accounts, these are what most people commonly have. If you were to open up a Robinhood account, this is probably what you would start with. What are the benefits and what are the not so benefits? So you're going to pay something called short-term short-term capital gains. What is short-term capital gains? Short-term capital gains is going to be when you buy a stock and you hold it for under a year. When you buy a stock and you hold it under a year, you're going to have to pay something called short-term capital gains when you sell the stock in under a year. I want to see what the exact percentages are. What are short-term capital? I want to say, short-term capital gains are gonna based on your income, they're gonna range from 10% to 37%. Oftentimes, is way gonna be in that higher category. Now, what's better, and what I do, is I only pay something called long-term capital gains. Why? It mugs. Long-term capital gains. Because when you hold a stock over a year, you're going to have to pay significantly less, on average about 10% less, in taxes when you hold it for over a year. The only stocks I have ever sold that haven't been in a Roth IRA account, now I didn't withdraw anything from a Roth IRA account. Don't do that. You can actually trade in a Roth IRA account as long as you don't make withdrawals. Now, the only time I've ever sold a frickin' stock is when it was long-term capital gains. And that was actually real recently. I had just bought something and I was up like 700% on it. It was a speculative play about 13 months ago. Short-term capital gains, that's sun. I mean, long-term capital gains, that's sucker. Like, that's the only time you should be selling stocks is long-term capital gains when you are happy with your returns. These are the 3 different kinds of accounts. Most people should have a Roth bare minimum. You should have a 401k if your work provides a good match and only put up to the matching amount. Normal/individual accounts, these are going to be for more advanced investors who might want to make some moves, put some speculative stuff. You should play it pretty safe in a Roth because we looked at what 35 years of 12% returns could get you. Normal/individual accounts, if you make more than $7,500 a year that you are willing to contribute, I would go for that. So what's next? Let's talk about how I pick stocks. And we're going to go to one of my favorite stocks around that I've ever had the witness of working with. Actually, let's put it on the chart. We'll talk about individual picks. So, how I pick stocks. How to pick stocks. I'll tell you what. As confusing as it is, stocks are not always going to move on how the company is doing. What it is going to move is how people value the company. The best way to make money is buy the stock that you think is going to have hype or that you think is going to stick around and be here for a while. For example, let's talk about Intel. Well, first let me write this down. Buy the pre-hype. If you're buying the hype, you're probably too late. You want to buy the hype before it's hype. You know what I mean? Buy the pre-hype. Buy the idea sometimes. Not always. But let's talk about buying the pre-hype. Intel, if we take a look at it, has made massive 1-year returns. Let me give you my analysis. I looked at Intel when it was around $20 a share. And in fact, I have a message that I want to pop up here. I was telling everyone I knew in 2024 of August to buy Intel. Why? We understand what the AI boom is. All of you know AI, and all of you know that AI has made crazy runs in the market. It's bubble. We don't need to talk about bubbles. But NVIDIA had made runs. AMD had made runs. What was the next play I was thinking about? I was saying Intel, they have a good product. That's a good thing, right? You don't want to buy shitty products. They've been around for a long time. They're proven. Now, what could make them more valuable than what they are today? And I was thinking, well, and this is just how to think about things, right? Because you don't need to look at all these numbers. These numbers really aren't that important. Think about the idea. Use logic to pick stocks. My logic was that I think Intel has a very good chance, because they're an American company, of signing contracts with the United States government. That's exactly what they did. That was honestly my logic. I'm like, I think they're going to sign contracts with the United States government. They did that, and I'm up like 530% on the stock. It's my largest return I've ever made. Now, granted, I was poor, and I only threw like a couple hundred, maybe a little bit more than that into it. But that's how I pick stocks. Another one I'm currently in, and I'm gonna hold for the long run, is General Mills. Why would I hold General Mills? If we look at General Mills 5-year, and this is just, again, how I'm using the logic behind it. First of all, their earnings aren't actually too bad. Again, I don't look at these numbers almost ever. Maybe that makes me dumb. I don't care that much. I'm only using logic to pick my stocks. Individual stocks, that's how I play it. If we look at their 5-year, General Mills, what do they make? They make the frickin' food, bro. They make frickin' everything. Look at everything they frickin' make. my logic was General Mills isn't going anywhere. That food isn't going anywhere. I've seen they've taken a massive downturn in these last 5 years, where I think they are discounted from what they're really going to be at later on. Another thing is, I'm thinking about, we could reach $90 again, but what are the odds it's going to go to $10? I think it's more likely to hit $90 than it is to hit $10. I think the stock is just discounted right now. This company's not going anywhere. It's recession proof. What do I mean by that? I mean, no matter how poor people are, they're always going to buy General Mills products. If people were starving, and we needed more food stamp programs, welfare programs, the government would buy General Mills product. I've seen it happen before. We got to remember during COVID, when they were giving out free lunches, the government, because school was canceled, they had a hella General Mills products in there. That means that the government has already shown that they're willing to back this company. Taxpayer money can go into General Mills. That's just kind of what I think. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's just not going to go anywhere. Another thing that I like about General Mills, they have a dividend. Not only could I be seeing a 200+% return on the company, they're going to pay me 6%. 6%. Now, what are dividends? We'll get into that in just a second. I want to get back to how I pick stocks. So buy the hype, buy the pre-hype. You want to buy what you think people are going to value. Hype equals people's value. Another thing, use logic. If it doesn't make sense, if you can't tell someone about it, it probably doesn't make sense. Use logic. That's honestly, buy the pre-hype. I sometimes buy ideas, and sometimes I get burned on that. But you want to use logic. Is it a good product? That's another one. And is it going to stay around? Is it future-proof, let's say? So, what do I mean by is it future-proof? What's going out of stock? Or what's going out of date? What's going out of date, guys? Guys, why can't I fucking think? I don't know anything that's going out of date right now. But is it future-proof? Is it going to be around 10 to 15 years from now with the technological advancements? That's honestly really, really important as well. Now, I want to talk about one more thing. So that's how to pick individual stocks. But most of you honestly probably shouldn't do that. What most of you should do is ETFs. This is going to get you comfortable in the market. And what ETFs are, instead of, I'm going to use my own logic here. They say don't put your eggs in one basket. Or don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Fuck that analogy. That analogy's dumb. Here's how I'm going to say it. If there was a basket of eggs, what's more likely to win? The singular egg you might pick, the singular chicken that might hatch, or if you buy the basket of eggs, how many chickens might hatch from that, right? Like, that's kind of weird, but like, you're more likely to get more chickens if you're buying more eggs than betting on one particular egg. Buy the basket sometimes, and that's when ETFs come into play. ETFs, you've heard your S&P 500s. We're going to do a really... S&P 500 is a great one. Invest in the S&P 500. You see almost a 10% dividend, or not dividend. You see almost a 10% return a year on average. That almost gets us to your 12%. If you have a S&P, you hold that for a really, really long time, and you have a few speculative plays, you're going to get to that 12%, that $2.7 million we were talking about earlier. 10% return average per year. That's freaking incredible, guys. If you would have bought the S&P 500 25 years ago, you're rich. For sure. Another thing you're going to want to look at in ETFs is, and this is some of my favorite, dividends. Dividends! Guys, I'm a freaking massive dividend investor. And we talked about it a little bit with General Mills. What are dividends? People are going to pay you to own something. So, there's a few different dividend plays. Some of these S&P collections have dividends. Some of them don't, depending on what you're looking at. I think good things, or like a good balance, is something like VYM, VTI, VOO. You're getting the growth of the actual companies inside the basket, but they're also going to pay you to own it. Now, why dividends are good? With that investment calculator, if you are, let's say, like with General Mills, if General Mills or not even General Mills, if you take those dividends and you reinvest it, all of a sudden, like the compounding gets even, like the compounding gets nutty, guys. I want to, it's called DRIP. DRIP's definition is not bling. DRIP stands for Dividend Reinvestment Plan. Now, when you have DRIP, all of a sudden, you're not only getting the growth of the stock, the company might have done well, more people are buying it, it's driving the price up. They're just paying you to own it. And if you can own that stock, it goes up, and use your dividends to put more money in the stock, it's like a snowball. It starts compounding. It gets really, really fast. Now, another cool thing with dividends is there's some investors that just live off dividends. What do I mean? Your grandparents might talk about them getting dividends. So generally you get dividends every quarter. And if you've been in the market for a long time, you've reinvested, those dividends, all of a sudden, if you're 60, you've done the $5,600 a year, you might be getting tens of thousands of dollars a quarter in dividends, if not more. So I always buy ETFs that include dividends because I like getting paid to own stocks. It's very, very fun. I like something like General Mills. General Mills isn't going to go anywhere. I think it could go up a lot, and they're going to pay me dividends. Yeah, it's cool. I also have a big position in VYM I've held for a long time. And VYM has done really well for me. I put all those dividends back in. VTI is not bad. VT is one of those ones so VT is a stock symbol. It's the total world's economy, not just America. You want to buy as many baskets as possible. Fuck the eggs. Buy an egg if you're sure the chicken will hatch. And you'll never be sure. Sometimes it's a stillborn chicken. Right? Buy the fucking basket. Buy the fucking basket. Just keep buying baskets. I'm in a lot of ETFs. And sometimes I've bought into ETFs for specific sectors. So with AI, for example, S&P might see the S&P 500 might see a 10% return. Real recently, it's shown like 20 to 30. I was very bullish on AI 2 or 3 years ago. I bought a ETF for AI in particular. Has a bunch of different AI companies in there. That ETF is up like 200%. And they give me a dividend. Man, that was a lot to talk about in one video. We're going to conclude it with something. Don't be stupid. Invest. The only dumb investor, well, there's a few dumb investors. Stay away from penny stocks. because you're buying a chicken that likely won't hatch. Maybe there's a 10%, 5%, 1% chance of that chicken hatching. It's not worth it. Most penny stocks people are going to lose their money over time. Stay away from meme coins. I'm not saying all crypto's bad. Stay away from meme coins. Buy the baskets. Buy logical, well-fertilized chicken eggs. And the most stupid investor is the one who doesn't invest. All of you should be investing. If you can work a part-time job, if you have the motor function to do that, you have the motor function and capability to invest. Let me know if you guys have any questions, if you like this kind of video. It's very different from what I usually do. And I'm not the most qualified. I make mistakes too, so. But this is just what I've learned as a young person investing for a couple years now. So, peace out, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know how I did. Let me know if I'm boring and stupid or something. If I'm, yeah, whatever. Peace out, guys.